All right, guys, let's get started. So need you to get pen, paper, computer, something to take notes on.
Are you sure it's pen and paper?
Yes, I'm pretty confident today. I am going to steal one Boge fry. So what did you guys get? The Supremes?
It's called the fries are right there. It's called the tailgate pack or something.
Yeah, they used to have one
Do we have any
right across from
We
GAC.
did,
Oh,
but I
wow.
don't know if we still do.
Do we have any
So I'm
place
still
to
waiting on Andrew, Michael, and Sean to Venmo for the.
This is the best idea ever.
Upgraded model.
Those wings?
Yeah,
Are
no,
you-
they're
are
like
you blind?
they're like
Are you still
pieces of
wanting
chicken fried
the higher end model?
Literally
Which
a
we
whole
talked
time.
about, you thrown in 200 to get the.
Yeah.
I'll let you know as soon as they do.
So they're bones or?
Yeah. They're like full pieces.
They're whole chickens in there?
So fried.
Oh, man, it's good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this checks for you, Chip.
It's giving me a stomachache just looking
All
at
right.
it.
I'm sorry about that, Adi, but your stomach's gonna keep hurting.
Our back door.
I don't feel great, so that's
Real.
probably why.
So painful.
Freaking bow time.
Ooh, that was good.
Damn.
Yeah, try these.
Try it for
Change the world.
I'll eat all of it.
Go to our bub.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
No.
We could do Bojangles for Team Night Out.
What? Get out of here.
There's one over at Jimmy Carter.
We should go to what's that taco?
They got roasted chicken bites that are healthy.
We haven't been to Twisted Taco in a long time.
Talking about-
Twisted Taco?
We gotta see what Caleb wants.
There is Twisted Taco.
Over my house?
She'd be 100% down to do that.
Totally do that. We haven't been there forever.
Yeah, because the only thing is it'd be nice to get some of our team too.
Tonight?
It's not that far away.
For when?
Yeah, it's 20 minutes north.
December?
Most of our kids live.
South. I thought we had a good bunch of Gwinnett kids. Maybe we did.
Well,
Your new business last week.
December.
Nope, I did not, because I am not on your.
Look at them.
Why?
We're going to Cuba.
Where are you going?
Cuba.
When we're going?
Alright.
I don't know the dates yet. I have to ask for that. But we always do a trip in the summer. I'm definitely down if I can.
Okay, gang. So so let's get started with next level. No, you don't have to be. Yeah, you can go do PRs, get those knocked out. You two can go do that after you eat, or you just. I mean, you could be in here for it. Doesn't hurt. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think I'm gonna tell you anything. I don't want you to hear. We'll just go over it at some point later. But so we're working on currently the topic of driving fast start production, and the latest session that we just dug into was Tuesday PDI. We talked about effective Tuesday PDI, how to drive sales, how to drive attendance to the team meeting, and that really helps with days 4 through 10 management. Well, today's topic is going to be how to crush the Wednesday session with a focus on advanced training 2, but then also digging into just phone jam tips in general. So it's kind of really pertinent and relevant right now, being that we're in SLC push and we're finishing up the last of Surge, or the last week of that. Divisionally, guys, we need to step our game up. The first week was kind of poo-poo. Not going to lie. Outside of Jacob, we didn't really have a lot of activity happening for the push last week. A lot of you guys are behind in your sales goals. So this week really matters, and it matters for our team. But with regards to next level prep and next level training, I think it's important that as the leaders of our Leadership Academy group, we're leading the charge. So when people come into the office tonight, there needs to be an atmosphere of finishing strong. There needs to be an atmosphere of success, of culture, of activity. It doesn't matter where we're at. Nobody's sales report is so strong that anybody can be like, fuck it, I'm chilling from the rest of this thing. It only matters what we do moving forward. It only matters what we do for the next several days to finish this thing out right. We do have prep from 10 to 3 on Saturday. So there's, a couple demos you may miss because of that, but nobody did so many demos last week that, missing 2 or 3 demos is really going to change, them being able to hit their goals. We got to just finish it out the right way. So let's talk about Wednesday, specifically advanced training 2. We're looking at, I was talking to Jeff Gamboa a little bit about some of the things that they did with advanced training 2 and how can we take it higher as a division, and really specifically driving that back half of the fast start. And did anybody here run advanced training 2 last summer? Doesn't look like it, right? It wasn't really a big program divisionally. It wasn't something that a lot of people even ran. But in FC, where they had really strong back half of their fast start productivity, it was something that was a big part of their DNA or part of their culture. So, yes.
When would you run it?
That was a good question. So that topic has come up. What Jeff did over the summer, and what I am leaning towards right now, is he did 4:30 to 6. Well, was advanced training 2. And what it really did is it enabled them to get some material in, teach them some things, and then get them on the phone early before the rest of the team got there.
We say talking about
On team
Wednesday.
meeting?
Wednesday, So it's Wednesday evening. They did it 4:30 to 6 before the team meeting started. So whether we do 4:30 to 6 or we do 5 to 6 this upcoming summer, that remains to be seen. But what is important is that the Fast Start group has a specific agenda that is different than the rest of the team, because I think what happens is whatever your representatives walk into, that's what they're going to expect. And so if an advanced trainee comes in, a fast starter comes in, and they see people kind of chilling or kind of casually making calls, that's the culture of what they expect to be done. What we're looking at doing for this upcoming summer is averaging between 7 and 10 demos per fast starter on Wednesday night's phone jam. Part of that, it gets driven by the fact that we're going to be doing a strong Tuesday PDI session, so people are coming in the right way. Part of it has to do with just having a structured plan for advanced training 2. And what's cool about it is it doesn't have to be this very long, sophisticated program in order to have success with it. In fact, I was talking to Grace Velez a little bit about it, and she's, because she did run advanced training 2, and she actually had a strong back half fast start average. And what she did that I think really helped is she just taught them basic phone skills, taught them how to book up with their acquaintances, and then reviewed the order of people to call, and then set up benchmarks for success for the evening. So on Wednesday night, when people get there, so the initial plan right now, at least for AT2, is to have them come in, make calls, starting probably around 5:45, 5:30 or so, to get the initial several demos booked up. Then you have your team meeting at 6, and then you launch it from there. So, so it's 5 to 6 o'clock or 4:30 to 6 o'clock, depending on where we settle as a division for the summer. The topics did come up. Well, does that mean that fast starters are there from 4:30 to 9 or 4:30 to 9:30 on Wednesday night? The answer would be yeah, if that's the key. But what this goes back to is, what would we rather have for our people? Would we rather have pleasing methods, or would we rather have pleasing results? Pleasing methods would be you don't have them come in for very long. Pleasing results would be they pop, right? And they're selling a lot, and they're making a lot of money. And most people don't complain about coming in extra if they know that it's making them a lot of money. And since most people's least favorite thing to do is to make phone calls, if there's ever a chance to err on the side of them coming in longer, let's have them come in at a time when we know they can make a lot of calls. Question.
So does that mean we don't be running one interview that day then?
So what that would mean is that the schedule would be set up in such a way where the 2 interviews that would take place would happen earlier. So
we had our call on Wednesdays.
yeah, and it may mean that this upcoming summer, instead of because what we had originally in the plan let me pull it up to make sure I've got it right. Yeah, what we originally had in the plan was for AT2 to be like a 5:30 to 6:30, and then a 6:30 to 9, 9:30 team meeting for branches and UDMs. And a lot of people switched it back to like 6 just because they didn't run an AT2. But you think about it theoretically, if you did a 10:15 interview and then a 3:15 interview, you could be done by 5:15 and run a 5:30 advanced training 2, do that for an hour, and then do team meeting 6:30 to 9:30.
So you said advanced training 2 is at 4:30.
And then the call would be 1:30 to 2:30. Yeah.
Okay.
What's
I
that?
thought you said that we were going to do advanced training 4:30 to 6.
Right. And so that, what we're really saying is, do we want it to be an hour? Do we want it to be an hour and a half? And if it's an hour, you could easily do it from 5:30 to 6:30. And
But either way, it's still more important probably to have AT2 in the structure that we're talking about than having another interview.
no,
Potential.
you still want to run the interviews. So we'll look at the schedule and adjust accordingly. But what's really easy for branches and UDMs to do is to, instead of having your team meeting go from 6 to 9:30, have it go from 6:30 to 9:30, and then 5:30 to 6:30 advanced training, or 5 to 6:30 advanced training. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just because most team meetings for branches, you don't need 3.5 hours for the team
Yeah,
meeting.
that's for sure.
What were you gonna say?
I remember for the summer kickoff, we were Jeff's PSM was talking about how for their advanced training they'll do, or their AT2, they'll have them go over the close and like basically do a demo check for them.
Yes.
I like the idea of that, but how long do you think that would take on top of everything else? Or do you think it just depends on what we want to teach?
So the demo.
Yeah, what's in AT2?
So let's talk about the agenda of what to teach during this hour. Okay. So you got an hour of material that you could cover, or an hour of time that you could cover material. What I'm recommending happens is a quiz, and we don't really need to do a closing quiz, I don't think.
Will the quiz be over?
What's that? What I mean by like of the close, right?
Oh.
Because our close is,
We don't really have one.
it's a very simple close, right?
We want them using their scripts.
Yeah, we want them using the scripts,
Right.
but what I'd like to see is a transition. So what to do once the video ends. So you're checking, okay, the video ends. What do you do now? So presenting the 3 set options and then transitioning into the starter sets. That's what I'd like to see the quiz be.
And then would they have their manual?
Yeah, they could do whatever, and the way that you do a quiz check, just so you know, is do it for me just like you do your customers.
So it's individual.
Yes, and that's a quick one. And you do that kind of around just as they're coming in, and if you've got an assistant manager, you could do it. The other option is you can have them record it real quick, send it to you, and you test it that way. There's so many different ways you could test the quiz.
But it's not like a group effort answering questions. It's like each person.
Yeah,
I'm
specifically.
just thinking about what the others would be doing while you're doing that. If you were to like do it individually.
Darren has some role
calls.
play,
Yeah,
Okay.
and he just listens to the role play.
Yeah.
He just has them do it for their partner, and the other person does it for them.
Oh, role playing
Smart.
what?
So that way it's
Close?
not you and one person, yeah, but they have to do it for one another, and then you just listen.
so I like that. That's did he do that on Wednesday? Did you see that happen? That's pretty.
Now, they
Simple.
only had 2 people in from last one.
But still, though, I
But
mean,
that's what he did with.
it's scalable, with 20 or 30 people. So basically so let's think of it like this. So they get there, let's just say it's a 5 to 6:30 advanced training 2. Let's just say that's the time for our new managers next summer.
Which is
5 to 6:30. Let's just call it that. That way, nothing in the schedule really needs to change. Because right now we had our call ending at 2:30. If you did a 3:15 interview, you're probably done by 5. If you needed to move it up to, if we need to move our call to 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we'll do that. And that way you're still done in time. I mean, training confirmation calls wasn't a massive thing for most people last summer, so I don't think we need to stress out too much about that this summer. But so if it starts at 5 o'clock, goes 5 to 6:30. The first 15 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes, is role playing the close. So role playing the close, starting after the video and presenting it. So having them bring in, their computer, having them bring in their blue book, white book, having them bring everything in, sitting down, role playing it, you're walking around and grading them. And you're having them do it for each other. This is also assuming that you're having them do a quiz on Monday's advanced training of the recommendation approach. Okay, and I found a place where we can weave it into our training that works really well. Is when you get to the 5th step of selling more Cutco, which is being great at recommendations. You just have them write it out. And they write out, do your recommendation approach. Go ahead and write it out right now.
You do that on
Right.
advanced training 1?
Yeah, we're gonna do it during advanced training 1.
Remember.
Yeah. And that's the only thing they should probably have memorized by the time they come into advanced training. They don't need to have the drop down memorized, but they should have that part memorized.
So this part is relatively.
It's 8
quick,
sentences.
Right?
Yep.
And you said 15
Yeah, 15 minutes. 15, 20 minutes max doing dropping down. And if it goes quickly, right, boom, 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 then what I would recommend that they do is also have them do the wish list with accessories.
So how do we grade this?
Relative, meaning
Just like you did.
tonality, having it down, confidence. I mean, if you want to, I mean, it's a subjective score of 1 to 5.
That's what I was about to say. It should be like TLA.
Yeah,
1 to 5.
subjective score 1 to 5, being on script, right? If somebody's winging it, the most they could get would be a 3, right? If somebody's on script though, if they're confident, if they have enthusiasm,
But like, what I'm saying is like, I get what you're saying, but do we tell them like on the spot?
Yes.
Or is it like an after?
I would tell them on the spot.
Okay.
Like, hey,
These are the things you did well. These are the things you need to work on.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
like, hey, yeah, not even here's the thing, guys. Don't get hung up on what their grade is.
Right.
They'll get hung up on it, and that's fine because they should be the ones stressing out about it. You shouldn't don't spend 10 minutes critiquing somebody's relative drop down because then you have no advanced training too.
Right. Like it's not a demo track.
Mm.
It's just a very brief
It's checking a very small fraction of the demo for them. And so confidence, enthusiasm, being on script is what we're looking for here. And if they've got all of those things, then that could be a 5.
Okay.
And if they're and if they're reading it but they're struggling to transitions and stuff like that, they're probably not really doing that with their presentations. They're just winging it.
Okay.
All right. What we're looking for specifically during this is how do they handle if somebody says no to the popular 3, the transition into the starter sets.
Right.
If they say no to that, the transition into the customized knives. So that's what we're looking for. So that's the first 15, 20 minutes of the hour. The next, guys, is going over the acquaintance approach and phone objections.
Do you have like a time frame?
And that's probably going to be 15 to 20 minutes as well. So call it 20 minutes for that. And then the last 10 to 15 minutes is going to be, keys to maximizing the phone jam.
So it's like going over the stuff we went over the last prep with the connections and like going through all that stuff would be for 15.
Well, you've already.
Before the one you just said. So
the last one, the last 10, 15 minutes is going to be here's keys to maximizing the phone jam.
Yeah.
And so what that means is staying focused, eliminate distractions. Second one's going to be making sure you got all your names, numbers ready to rock. Everybody have those out? Okay, cool. Third is going to be having all your approaches and phone jam trackers out. So phone jam tracker, approaches. Fourth is going to be making 20 to 25 calls an hour. And then you just remind them as a reminder, here's who picks up. 1 out of every 3 to 4 for people well. 1 out of every 7 for people you sort of kind of know. 1 out of every 10 for recommendations. So let's hold off on recs. We still want to make sure we get to 100 recommendations, try to do 50 practice appointments before we start calling our recs.
No, but I meant like you got the 15, 20 minutes for the quiz, and then the next one would be going over the stuff like we went over the last prep with like your connections and who you know and
The next is going to be teaching the acquaintance approach.
acquaintance approach.
Sorry, what was the second? Like I totally blanked on the
Teaching acquaintance approach and simple objections. So basically, it's it's you're reviewing page 24 and page 20. So 24 and 23. So 24, 23 would be the next 20 minutes. And specifically the ones that you want to work with them on is that they say they already own it. How to handle not interested. How to handle I'm really busy.
So are these phone objections?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what?
No. I was curious that we were talking about during
Yeah,
the
it's
demo
phone.
objections
It's
for not
think
buying?
of advanced training 2 as a phone workshop
Okay.
with a little bit of a quiz at the beginning.
Okay.
That's all it is. So if every week you run a phone workshop for your fast starters, they're going to succeed in a much greater capacity than they have been currently, which is where they show up and they sort of kind of make some calls here and there.
Yeah, I definitely see that working a lot.
Yeah.
Just their confidence level mainly.
Yeah, they're gonna
They
be.
don't have questions. They'll already have, because I feel like a lot of times, even here, they come in, they're like, what am I supposed to do? Where it's like, this will handle that objection of like, you go through it, you know what it is, now you have all your stuff. And
Yeah,
then
and
the rest of
if
the team
everybody
comes in
that
with
if everybody that launches comes into a program like that where
Yeah.
they're, that's what the expectations are, and you teach them that from the very beginning. You don't have to teach them every single week when they come in what they're supposed to be doing.
That's great. I'm gonna be able to start that.
And you probably need to remind them about it, right? Like so like for example tonight, our group didn't get an AT2, so what I'll do is probably right at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna do it for everybody real quick, So for fast starter or for anybody who's on the regular team, representative wise, I'm gonna have them do this for I'll probably take 30 minutes to really do this with them.
When are we gonna do the cutting?
I'm gonna do that at the end. It's like 8:45, 9.
So we're doing an ATU tonight.
Modified. I'm not gonna have them do the role play. I'm gonna teach acquaintance approach, handling objections, keys to having a great phone jam. So I'm gonna teach like 30 minutes of that, so you guys can kind of
So for
see
your
it live.
regular team then that comes in, we're just talking back to this, regular team that comes in, they just start phone jamming?
Yes.
And then,
Well, they come into the team meeting at 6 o'clock.
right, but then they come in team meeting
Yes.
and then the first thing we
No.
do is phone jam and teaching at the end of
Yep.
the PowerPoint.
Exact same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I thought we were trying to switch it to where we had like a teaching thing in the beginning.
Not teaching, just hot news,
Like,
recognition.
No, like a workshop. Maybe I'm crazy.
That's the end. So we just said the cutting
Instructional happens at the end.
I know, but I remember at some point having a conversation that we were something about having workshops in the beginning to get people there because it's the first thing that we do. No, doesn't ring a bell. Okay, it's just me.
No, just hot news, intro rec to get people there, then get them on phone jam. What he has referred to, Sam has referred to, is maybe for the fall, since we're struggling to get people here early, to do a workshop early, so that way people are kind of trickling in and nobody's like, oh, can I just leave? I got my demos booked up.
Gotcha.
He's also, we've also discussed if somebody's, there's different schools of thought of when do you do a phone, or when do you do a team meeting? Do you do it at the end from 9 to 10:30, which is everything? Do you do it at the beginning? When do you do it? So, but that's not what this is. This is talking about HE2. So with the advanced training objectives, what matters with this is checking assignments, getting them in organized. So the assignments from AT1 to AT2 should be making sure they've got at least 50 names and numbers ready to rock. So you're checking that, making sure they know that they're going to be role playing or drilling for skill or getting quizzed on their drop down, and and coming in with a goal of booking up 10 appointments that evening. And so we really want to drive our fast starters to get 10 demos per person during the summer. During the non-summer, of course, it's going to be schedule based, but especially during the summer and winter break when people don't have school, it's a focus of them getting the 10 demos booked up at peace, so that way they can surge with sales.
So would you try and incentivize them in some way, or just like?
Yeah,
Like
so
have the
there's
goal-
the normal incentive that is always there, which is going to be a phone jam training, or not training, but a phone jam with a prize of free food or free Cutco, whatever you're normally doing for the team. They're just going to be the ones that have the most chances. And so you let them know that, hey guys, our goal is, so you get a 10 since you're in your fast start and get the most number of chances doing the free stuff.
Mhm.
And what's cool is if somebody comes in and they book up 10, then it becomes easier for them the next time they come in to book up 10.
Because they can do it.
They're just expecting it. Yeah. Yes.
Do you think it's gonna be tough to get them to come in 4 days?
Well, they already come in 4 days.
Yeah, they're just coming in earlier.
They already come in Wednesday.
I mean, I guess just maybe the length of time, like that they'll.
Well, if you were having them, let's say last summer you were having them come in at 6. Now you're just having them come in at 5:30 or 5 o'clock. So an extra 30 minutes for an hour isn't huge.
I meant like as a whole week, not just the one day.
What do you mean?
Like they have training Thursday and Friday, and then advanced training on Monday, and then team meeting with extra training on Wednesday.
But it's just the same. But here's what we don't have a problem with. We never struggle with people's length of time once they're at the office. What we struggle with is them coming to the
That's
office.
getting them in, right?
Yeah, the reason that guy just quit wasn't because of the length of time he had to be here when he came here. It was the fact that he had to come here. And I'm assuming, did he put it on pause or is it like toast? Toast?
It was 100% just having to come here. And,
Toast or pause?
pause.
Yeah.
Just pause. They just, maybe next spring, he's got swim dot to start off, so he has to get another job.
So he got another job.
But it's just a seasonal job for the fall.
That's what this is, right?
But yes, so that is to answer
I
your
know that
question.
might be a stupid question, but I just.
No, it's not a stupid question. It's a fair question. It is different. It's not something that we're used to doing. So there will be, you may occasionally have somebody complain about coming in for that length of time, but those are going to be the same people that complain about the length of time coming in for any event. And we deal with that with normal reps anyway. It's like, hey, can I leave early? Can I come late? That was something when I did, when I ran training, on Thursday last week, that was everybody had a challenge with Monday, for example.
Right.
It wasn't the length of time, it was the time. The fact they had to come in at all was like, oh, this is different, So,
As long as they get value out of it.
Yes, yes. yep. And that's the key.
Should stop.
Yeah,
Well,
if they-
that's the thing.
if
If
they
they
don't
get
get the demo, they
success,
get money.
then and they're making money, then they show up. It's what happens. What we struggle with is when somebody shows up, they fart around for 2 or 3 hours, don't get anything booked, and then they leave with, wow, I just spent my night up here and got nothing done. That's when people really complain. Whereas if somebody comes in, books up 10 demos or 7 demos or even 5 for a regular kid on the team, it's like, dude, you realize you just booked up more demos tonight than you booked the entire rest of the week so far? And they're like, yeah. It's like, sweet. So that's the thing. So it's, that's what's really critical, is making sure that people are getting value when they come in. And so part of it is setting up their success with teaching the acquaintance approach, teaching them how to handle simple objections, and then creating proper expectations for what's going to take place during the phone jam.
And also, no one wants to make calls at home, so the fact that you can get them to knock it out, and especially if they have an earlier start, you can really see the potential in front of them. Then it's,
I
Yes.
think if we do the teaching right, then they'll be motivated and then they'll do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. The other thing, guys, that I don't want to underestimate is the power of that Tuesday session, though. Setting up, creating not only attendance, but attendance the right way.
Right.
And and checking their names when they walk in the door. So like, you know,
On
when
Wednesday?
people come in, like everyone's like, we're going to do it tonight too. And people show up for the team meeting. It's like, hey, how many names and numbers do you have? How many, you know, let's put up your goals. Okay. How many appointments do you want to do? How many names and numbers did you bring in? Okay. Now we're going to get you to crank, you know? So that's kind of the flow of the sign in is if they're getting a bunch of demos booked up, because they have if they bring in a bunch of names and numbers, it's going to be easier for them to book up a bunch. Okay. So cool. So that's AT2. You know, we're going to be working on that, implementing that this fall. We'll be reviewing it again next spring, and then getting ready to crank for next summer. I do want to transition into little, you know, 1 minute manager stuff. How are we doing with that? I know we got the video, you know, we're going to do a book report review on Saturday, but want to know, you know, how many coming along with that?
I was gonna do that tonight.
Okay.
Honestly, I was gonna go to the team night out.
Okay.
And I was gonna.
Knock it out tonight. Just read it tonight. Okay.
Mine should be here tomorrow from the library. So.
What's that?
I got mine at the library, so I'm just waiting for it to come in.
You got it at the library?
Like I ordered it. Like they didn't have it in my library, so they got it from another library. It should be getting here tomorrow.
Cool. Okay. Well, just make sure it gets done by
It'll be
Saturday.
done by Saturday.
Like I
What
said,
time
it's
is
just
our
one that's a little
prep on
different.
Saturday?
It's basically the
10
same.
to 3.
10 to 3, same time as last time? Perfect.
It'll be done by Saturday.
Okay.
Are we doing anything after? Or
You know, yeah, I think people should. We're gonna go grab a bite to eat. Then we'll be heading to the airport. So,
Are you going out?
LA.
He just
I know.
almost naturally just said Vegas.
It's
That's like
yeah.
his impulse
Instinct,
result
yeah.
Vegas.
Vegas is where I'd prefer to go. But no, we're going to LA, and then SLC is in LA, and then Chicago or Cancun. So,
Yep.
it's been
We'll be in
everywhere.
Chicago. We'll be in
Hey,
Cancun.
question.
Dallas, and Chicago, LA.
That Sunday, right now the only person that like is local still is Jacob.
Yeah.
Which is we're all gonna be gone and Andrew's gonna be home. He's cool with running it. Are you cool with
Yeah.
it still being ran?
Cool.
Talk to him and Andrew about PDI.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll strategize that before I head. But so guys, you know, since we haven't really done much with that, with the book, I think what I'll do is, you know, go back to just some of the stuff we talked about with positive intelligence. That's going to be the next book that we're going to tackle and start reading. But I want to make sure that, you know, we're minimizing these voices. You know, part of the reason for taking the test was not just to get what our big sabotagers are, but to make sure that we recognize what's that.
Have them in check.
Have them in check a little bit, right? And there's little exercises that you can do that keep you in the here and now, focused on the present, so that way you can avoid it. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. So being present and focused in the moment. So you know, one of the things they talk about is these positive, intelligent PQ exercises that you can do. And I'll send you guys a little link on this later that you can observe or listen to at some point. It's like a 5-minute one that you can do. And it's a little strange. I'm not going to lie. It's a little different. But some of the things that you can do is taking periodic moments throughout the course of the day to focus on what you're doing right then and there. Another way to look at it is going into every activity with intention versus just going into every activity. See, because what I found is that when you go into every activity and think about that activity and go into it with intention, it causes you to focus on the activity and not what's inside your head. Because it's very easy to just say, you know, okay, I've got this thing coming up. All right, no big deal. Where instead you say, hey, you know, tonight at the team meeting, here's what needs to get done. Here's what needs to be focused on. Here's what we want to drive. Here's what we want to prioritize. Because when you do that, then it allows you to just be in the moment. Okay. Another exercise that he recommends doing is, you know, he talks about trying to get 100 exercises. Maybe that's probably too much, but, you know, can you take a couple moments each day to do a meditation session. And what I mean by meditation session isn't taking like an hour and doing like yoga or anything like that, but it's like setting alarms in your phone, similar to the emotional intelligence alarms. But right after you do those alarms, can you take 5 minutes and focus on exactly what you're doing? So maybe it's you just simply stop any activities that you're doing and listen to the water, right? Or can you take the time to feel your hands rubbing together, right? And actually feel what that feels like, right? The ridges in your fingerprints. Listen. Maybe if you're wearing a watch, right? Listening or looking at the second hands of the watch and listening to it click as it goes there. If you're wearing an Apple Watch, they actually have little exercise that you could do, little meditation exercises. There's an app called Calm that does that, right?
The Breathe app.
The Breathe
Yeah.
app, yep,
Yeah.
is another great one.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Yeah, so just setting that 3 times a day to do a breathe session. If you've got an Apple Watch, which that makes it much cleaner and simpler, right? But it's just the idea is to focus on your breathing. If you've ever watched the TV show Billions, you'll see Bobby Axelrod does that every once in a while. He'll go into his little room.
And blue room.
It's like it's just a
Or it's just
desensory. Yeah, it's a desensory room, right? Where there's literally no heat, no sound, no electronics. It's just literally soundproof and blue light proof. So it's just focuses on taking away any of the fatigued sensories that we get, right? So it's designed to de-stress you. You could do that through the Breathe app, though. None of us have got that much anxiety and stress that we need something like what Bobby Axelrod has in his office there. So just taking the time to focus on your breathing, taking the time to focus on being alive and being in the moment, being present, really goes a long way. So, anybody have any questions on how to handle maybe some of their sabotagers or saboteurs?
I just need to read more up on
Yep.
exactly kind of what they mean and how it affects, what it looks like, type stuff.
Yeah.
Now, is that supposed to be finished by the October 20th prep?
We're going to say by Olean for that one. It's a longer
so you're
book.
basically give us 2 preps for that.
It's a longer book. We're going to break it up. So first 130 pages by October 20th, and then the last.
Do we have a spot in Olean that we're doing like next level stuff?
We're just going to we're just going to get some time and talk about it.
And I need to get people signed up.
Yeah, if you have not signed up for Olean yet, guys, we need to get that knocked out. In fact, I would just do it.
I don't think I can sign anything up yet. They haven't been official.
I've got it here. The problem is there's certain things that Ed asked for that I don't have all the information on. Like it's got birth date, and so if you go to Vector Connect right now, you guys can do that. In fact, let's just knock that shit out right while we're doing this.
'Cause I went to go sign everybody up on Sunday, but like I can't see it.
It's not allowing you guys to do it.
You
I
want me to
can't
pull it up
see
too?
Dylan. I can't see
Yeah.
Andrew. Just because they're still.
Oh yeah, because you guys are still in your branch offices,
So you may be. I was not in.
so we can't even sign you up here for the
I
pilot.
was waiting for you to get back before I started signing comments. Yeah, like that.
What's that?
It says I can sign up for it. Like I see it in my.
Yeah, just sign up for it. Yeah, well, we can't see yours, is what we're saying.
Okay.
Maybe I can. Let me see.
I think you're able to sign anywhere because I feel like I had to do that when you were one day.
Maybe.
But I only can see our reps.
Actually, let's see.
Do I just need to sign any of our reps up for it that are local? Because I never got any official sign-in sheets. Or sign-in
Yeah, we need to get like D, and we need to get those guys, like D Frank and Jacob. Let's get all of them signed up.
So we're gonna get the 2 of the factory again or no?
What's that?
We're gonna get the 2 of the factory again or no?
So they've got, yes, I think so. They got some sort of hookup for you guys, I think.
So,
I know David
what
didn't
about
get
the
to,
Sign
but-
up. It just gives me
Your
a
conversation we had?
choice of DVM or DM.
What's that? We'll talk one on one. What's that?
When it's asking
DM.
what kind of manager I am, and all it says is DVM or DM.
Just do DM.
Okay.
saying you're if you want to sign up as a DVM, that'd be kind of cool. See what they say. May not
Skip step.
just jump right to it.
That'd be crazy.
The show's only a new man.
Because Alvin, it didn't give him the airport choice of St. Paul, so that's what he reached out to Dan on that. So.
I just need to go ahead and sign David in a month.
Yeah.
It's got my old birthday.
So where do we go? Events? Or-
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm signed up.
Boom.
Why does it not let me double click?
The Eastern calendar.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Why does it say Punta
What?
Eastern region. This is wrong. It's Eastern region January push up.
Did you go down to events and sales conferences?
I'm in events.
Conference
sales
registration?
Conference registration. That's it. There we go.
Okay. And then, what we're going to dig into next week for Next Level is going to be days, basically 6 through 10, how to drive their fast start. So activities that you can do, how to create a Friday phone jam session from home. So signing them up for a time for their power hour and then also phone jam session. The other thing that we're going to do is talk about how to rock their first PSP meeting. And then we're going to do a post fast start, PC will be another prep. So topics of discussion at this upcoming weekend's prep for you guys. We've got being the total package. So I'm going to talk about how to be kind of the total leader in all things, in Next Level. We're going to go over the DM comp model, which is pretty cool. So that's going to be really just how to, what are the skill sets necessary to be successful as a district manager? So we're going to dig into some of the 7 skills that are necessary to crush it as a DM. And these aren't skills like knowing how to do PRs, knowing how to do phone jams. These are going to be more kind of, broader reaching topics that are apply in and outside the business. And then Grace Velez is going to talk about days 4 through 10 training with Advanced Training 2. She's going to dig into what she did this summer, as well as how to crush the Champions Club session in meetings. So I guess we got a good little session for you guys in Next Level, starting right after opening comments and stuff. So we're gonna break out after I guess probably a little bit of drill for skill, and then we're gonna take it from there.
So we're grading other TLA members for drill for skill, right? Or okay.
Yep. So you guys will be helping out here with drill for skill on the pre and post.
Okay. And how hard do you want to rate them?
Hey,
Every grader has got their
every
own
grader.
level.
So we're gonna try to keep it as consistent as possible. But 5 is, for somebody to get a 5, they have to be perfect almost. I mean, they need to have it memorized, not using the script at all, and be 100% confident. And we're going to do it for the pre and the post. So first, if somebody uses their notes, the maximum they can get is a 3.
Okay.
So, and that's if they've got everything down, they're confident when they're saying it.
So a 4 would be if they're not using their notes, but they're pretty confident. But
They're solid, but they miss a few words, or or maybe they have to look down once, but
Okay.
But yeah. 4.5 would be maybe they just glance and say, okay, go about it. Type thing.
Yeah. So I'm trying to sign up, and I'm clicking myself, and I'm clicking the registered and stuff, and I'm the only one on here. But
Can't
Yeah.
use Safari. Safari, it's like a pop-up thing. It doesn't let you open it. You have to use Chrome or Firefox,
Okay.
and then it'll
If you're
work.
using Safari, you have to click the little box in the URL.
You got to click on a box in the URLs. What and you're saying what?
I'm about to do David, Jacob, and Anthony, but I can't access Sophie. Who else?
For now, it's probably solid, and then we'll work on it.
But yeah, I can't access Sophie, so we'll just have her sign.
I think I might be able to have access to her. All right, Connor, William, what's up, dude?